You know those wines pretty well? He said this our red is the best Nebraska red. What? Well, this, I'm thinking in my mind whether I should ask Ron back there, the winemaker. Ron, do you have time or the inclination to talk about the winemaking process?
Sure.
This is Ron Heskett, who's the vintner. He can tell you all the equipment and processes and so forth.
Where's everybody from?
I think you can just speak up, huh? You can't just sit.
Everybody's, okay, you're all together then. Okay. This is our stir crusher. The grapes first come in, we'll dump them into this. We've got, I don't know, the dock, our box jumper, the big piece of blue equipment out there. Anyway, it tilts up and we rake the grapes into here. There's an auger in this that augers them off from the center, down into the center of this. There's a drum with a shaft in the center of it with fingers on it that's rotating. And then as it rotates, it plucks the berries off, they fall through the drum. The stems will come out over here. And then on this side, there's a pan in the bottom that the berries drop down through with a set of adjustable rollers to crush them, the amount that we want to. Once they're crushed, then we use this pump, this is our must pump. It pumps the crushed grapes out of there. If they're white grapes, we'll bring it right over to the press the juice out, it ends up in the stainless steel tanks behind you there. We'll set there chilled for about 24 hours, then we'll rack them off, allow them to settle so that a lot of the impurities will fall to the bottom. Then we'll rack it over in another tank and get rid of the sludge in the bottom, and then we're ready to ferment those. Red wines, however, we pump right back into the tubs that they're brought into, and then we'll ferment them 5 days on the skins in order to get the colors and the tannins that we want out of the red grapes. Then they come over in the press, we'll press them out, then they go in the poly tank you see around the outside of the room to finish aging. Finish fermenting and aging. We take all the reds through a secondary fermentation, so it's a longer process. We have to take those completely dry. The whites, however, I like keeping the stainless steel tanks because they have cooling jackets on them, so we can control the temperatures that we're fermenting. The white wines, you like to ferment those at a lower temperature, usually about 60 degrees. And then once they reach the alcohol and sugar level that we want to maintain in the wine, then we'll hit them with sulfites and then drop the temperatures on them real slightly. And usually in about 3 to 4 hours, we can stop fermentation on the white wines. And then we set them in there and bring them down to about anywhere from 28 to 32 degrees. Hold them there for about 2 to 4 weeks to cold stabilize them. So we get the tartrate to crystallize the foam out. And then we'll filter them, which is the next machine we have here. This is our plate frame filter. This is what we filter the wines with. So while the wine is still cold, we'll run it through the filter here so it'll pull out the crystals that have crystallized in the tanks as it's chilled. Because if you let it warm up again, those will dissolve, and you want to get those out of the wine. So this is a small pump. This is what we pump the juice and the wine with. The wine is pumped into here, goes through a set of plates here. This is the paper insert that fits in between each one of these plates. The number of plates that I use and the size of the filter that I use depends on what the wine looks like, how many suspended particles are still in it. What happens when it goes through these plates, the wine goes through the rough side, and then the wines you're filtering, and then comes out filtered on this side. And there's about 5 different sizes of filters that we can use. Like I say, it depends on which one I start with, what the wine looks like to begin with. And the last filter we do on this takes it down to about 0.5 microns, and that's just the day before we get ready to bottle. Any questions like that going on?
Well, just one.
Okay.
Okay, you're talking about the sediment, right?
Uh-huh.
So when I take my wine home, I have to store it. Is that the reason why I store it tip down?
You want to store it tip down because we use real cork, and you want to keep that cork moist. If it's setting up right, that cork can dry out, and then you get oxygen coming into the wine. That's what will spoil your wine. Because the oxygen gets into it. The next room in here is our bottling room. But on bottling day, we've got one more filter we go through. This is a membrane filter here in the corner. This takes it down to 0.45 microns. It'll essentially take anything out that might have got past the paper filters out there. This is the surface where that's more of a depth type filter out there. So Anything, so 0.45 microns, that'll take out all your bacteria and yeast that might have gotten past the other. And once the wine passes through this, then comes in the inlet over here, up in this holding tank. This is rotating, holds 12 bottles. So we got somebody's putting the full empty bottles on, there's another person taking the full bottles off. The full bottle comes on the table here. There's a little micro switch on here. You come up with it against that. That brings the bottle up, pulls the air out for you to vacuum, and puts the cork in. All in one operation.
There's one aspect of the value that you have omitted, I'm sorry,
Okay.
and that's the outstanding team that you have.
Oh yes, I do. All local people that I've used for this. Usually if we have a lot to do, I like to maybe get another 4 people to come in and help. But the other day, John and my son and I, we did about 1,000 bottles, just the 3 of us.
Wow.
We put it on slow speed. With a higher speed, it'll do about 1,200 bottles an hour. The slower one does about 700 an hour. But we did a real good job, didn't we, Jeff?
And we did
John,
1,000 bottles in 45 minutes. or
Yeah,
something
yeah.
like that.
Well, about an hour and a half.
Oh,
I think it
yeah.
was. The slow speed, you'd only do about 700 bottles an hour, supposed to be like that.
So,
So.
is age naturally better as it
Actually,
ages,
I
or does that matter?
Most of your reds, yeah.
The reds, yes.
If you look at the reds settle, age a little bit, those tans will soften up. That makes it a little more drinkable. I mean, they're fine when they first start, but you can tell a wine that's, just a year old versus 2 years old. Because the reds are usually going to improve a little bit up to, even up to 5 years on that. But the white wines, they're better, within a couple of years normally. Well, we've got some that, we've got 3-year-old wines that are holding up quite well. So, but the white wines, we don't keep anything back. Try to on the white wines. I keep like maybe 2 cases of each of the white wines just to put into my wine library, just to see how they will do over the years. But the reds, once I get down to maybe, it depends on what volume I've got. Anywhere from 16 to 32 cases I'll keep back before I move into the next vintage. And then the next room over there is our storage room, which was put on about 2 years ago. So we store all our bottles inventory. Winter time, I'll set the thermostat at 55, so it doesn't get colder than that. And then in the summertime, I got it at 65, so it'll get warmer than that back there. And that's our labeling. Well, the people are the machines. That's the tool we use. So each label's put on one at a time. Would you like a demonstration of how that works?
I think I got that part.
Okay.
1,000 bottles later.
Yeah.
It doesn't label quite as fast as what we can bottle things.
Thank
And we
you.
put, you bet.
Thank you
for coming
so
today.
much.
Well, thank you, Ron.